Hey everybody, I know it's been a while, but I do have another sketchbook tour. I have 4 other sketchbooks before this one, but because of personal reasons, we had to move and I wasn't able to take them with me. Once we get all of our stuff back, I'll be able to show those, but this is the recently completed one that I have. It's an Illo sketchbook and it took me about 3 months, I guess. It went from October to like the very end of December, early January. And I'm sorry about the shaky camera work. I am filming on my phone and it's just not the best setup. But this was started in October 5th, and I'm not gonna say I'm super proud of this sketchbook. I'm just happy that I finished it till the end. Like, I think this might be the first sketchbook that I ever filled every single page. There are some drawings that I like in here, and I think I like them. It's just I wasn't in the best headspace drawing. There's a lot of places where I swear it took me a week to pick up my sketchbook again to draw. But I was trying to design, sticker ideas. I have, a few little misfortune ones. I love that game a lot. The whole feel of it I really love, and I can't wait to find out more about the lore and all that. This was a page of studies. I know this is really faint over here because I drew in this pink pencil, but I did studies of environments, and this year I'm going to try really hard to focus more on studies. A lot of things in here I did out of my own head when drawing faces and figures, and I want to start using reference and just getting better. So I think maybe this I used reference, but the rest of it I did out of my own head. These I know I did from reference. Anything that looks like, it has better structure to it is probably something I referenced and tried to study. Some faces I did. I know this isn't a study, and I kind of ruined it when I took a blending stump to it, but it wasn't perfect to begin with. But I think the rest of them, I know over here, are studies. These I did out of my own imagination. This I believe was a study, and then all of these out of my imagination or a quick glance at a reference. Now, I know for certain all of these are out of my own head, except for the period pieces. I just looked up what the dresses kind of looked like. These I did at work, so there were moments at my job where it was slow, mostly because of the snow, so nobody was coming, but I had to, work the full 8 hours. But I got to, just take out my sketchbook and draw a little bit. And also some of these I put watercolor in. Most of them, if not all of them, where you see watercolor, I drew it and then came back a week or so later and decided to put watercolor in. More doodles. I found an old sketchbook of mine, from 2015, 16-ish, I think. And I drew this one character and I was like, well, can I draw her again, but better? This is better than what I drew, 3 or 4 years ago, but I want to get even better than this. I think the only sketches I like out of this is this one. I really like how the face turned out. I'm not great at drawing males, obviously, but I also like that it doesn't look as cartoony. It still looks cartoony, but it looks closer to realism than anime. And then I tried drawing my husband. I don't know how well that turned out. I think his face needs to be longer. I got the right idea. It just needs to be longer. This was another day at work. I started out with this little Kiki sketch. I saw somebody's artwork. I wish I had put their name down, but I did find it on Pinterest, so sometimes they don't have the name on there. And then I drew this pose and I started trying to draw hair. I'm like, oh, it looks like Daisy, and so I just drew daisies the rest of the day. I also love watching Drawing with Waffles, and she gives me a lot of inspiration on what to draw. I think I was watching her creepy doll video, and I was like, you know, who doesn't love a good creepy doll? And so I decided to follow along with her and just, you know, hang out with her that day and draw some creepy dolls. Then I came over here, and I don't know the name of the witch. I think it's from My Little Witch Academia. But a lot of people say that she looks like, I guess, the famous witch from that series. She kind of does. I didn't mean to do that, though. This was out of my imagination. These two were steadies. And then I decided to draw, I don't know its name, but the unicorn Pokemon that was in Sword and Shield. And I just fell in love with it. I love fairies. And just the idea that there was going to be like a magical sort of like unicorn, I was like, of course I need to draw that. And I made like a princess, and I'm like, of course she has to be a trainer, so I gave her some Pokeballs. These were studies right here. And then I had an idea for a story with like a ghost character. And so I was like trying to figure out like, well, how would he float? And I liked this little pose idea. You will see that if I like a pose, and I don't know how to draw it, I'm just gonna draw it over and over and over again until I figure it out. I think that was, I do like this one, but I like this one more. All right, I think this was before work and this was at work. I really wanted to make a business card out of this sketch right here, but there's just so much detail in it, I don't think it would work. But I don't know what else to make a business card out of. If you have any ideas, I would love to hear them, because I'm kind of at a loss of like how detailed I should make a business card. And then I was trying to practice folds. I didn't know this was called a French fold until one of my friends told me, a friend more fashionable than I am. And I decided to keep trying to figure out folds, and once I was done trying to do that, I just went with a normal little like girl sketch. And I know I did this at work. We had an event, you know, later in the afternoon / evening, and so I got to sit there, and while I didn't have any customers, I did this whole sketch right here. And then I didn't pick this up until the next night while I was also at work, and drew some Bulbasaurs. I'm not good at drawing animals. I think the Bulbasaurs look okay. They kind of look Tim Burton-y to me, and I think it's just because I added like a lot of darkness around the eyes, and I didn't mean to do that. It was the pencil that I was using. These I did 3 days later, and I'm actually pretty proud of the ones that I sketched, like colored in. Like I really like that one. And then witches. I love drawing witches, no matter the time of the year. This was a brain fart page, Lord. And up here it was so stiff, and I was just thinking so hard about it. And so I leave myself like, stop thinking, and you're trying too hard, and you know. So this was the next day, and I didn't try, and I really like these. This was on Halloween. Once again, I was at work, and I was standing outside, I think, all day. And so there was like snow everywhere. I'm like, it's too cold for any tricks or treats. And then I started drawing like witches in, I guess, cloaks. I was thinking like, well, what do witches wear when it's like too cold outside? And I'm like, of course they wear cloaks. Oh, and then I like the pom-poms I drew like on top of their hats, because I'm like, of course they'd wear witches hats, but it has to be like festive. This is a, you know, sparse page, and that's fine. And then I drew over here more witches, but I tried to draw me as a witch, like, you know, I think I came up with like a little idea in my head, like, what if I, you know, like Hogwarts and everything, where kids go to school to learn magic, you know, it's that whole idea. I didn't get my letter quick enough, and, you know, now I'm an adult in like supposedly a kid's class. I don't know, I kind of like that idea. Monster Girls. I used to be really proud of this one, but since it's just staring at our work, the more you stare at it, the more I just see things wrong with it. But I do still like these two. I really like how I did her face, that doll-like face. And they just gossiping. Monster gossip, you know? I don't like the next few pages because there's a YouTuber I really like and I just couldn't figure out how to draw her, so I'm kind of tempted to just, you know, vaguely skip over these. This was at work and I tried drawing that YouTuber again. It doesn't look quite like her, but it looks nice. Like, so I highlighted it a little bit and drew somebody at work because she was cold, and I'm like, same here. And again, it's so cold out. It's snowing and I'm here for, you know, 8 hours, and I'm just like, might as well just draw people in warm winter attire. And red panda. And then I don't know why I started drawing, I forget what they're called, but half people, half snake. And snick-a-snick. This page I'm pretty proud of. Like, this half I really like, this half is kind of meh. I think I started out trying to draw, like, you know, the normal girl, and I was like, let's try and draw some faces, particularly men's faces, because I'm bad at that. And so it's like hit and miss, like everywhere. Like, I would draw one thing and be proud of it, then draw it again and be like, why is it messed up now? So I like this page because, once again, I just let myself do what I needed to do. I didn't think about it. I just let, you know, my brain just stopped thinking about it, and it just turns out a lot better. Another page at work, I know I did this at work because I was sitting outside trying to look up reference pictures on my phone of Norman Reedus, and none of these look like Norman Reedus. And the only reason I wanted to draw him was because my husband was playing Death Stranding, and I just thought, you know, everything looked really cool. So like, I drew this first and I was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna have a good art day, and then everything else said otherwise. At one point I stopped drawing Norman Reedus and I was like, what if I just drew something that wasn't him and I liked how it turned out? It's not great, but I liked how it turned out. And I'm like, okay, so maybe it's just me trying to draw this one man. And I drew him and I was like, oh my gosh, so close. And then I like did something to his face and messed it up, and I was like, JK, never mind. Another like sparse page, but I was like getting better at drawing guys, I think. And I'm a big fan of My Favorite Murder, and so is a friend of mine, and her birthday was coming up. I'm like, well, what if I just did like a picture of her? This doesn't look like her, except for maybe the hair. And I was like, she probably wouldn't like this, so I decided not to do it. A lot of Anne from Green Gables, or Anne with an E. I really do love that book, and the show that came out, I need to watch the 3rd season, so no spoilers on that. But I was doing a bit of drawing. I don't think I referenced any of these. I think I did remember a reference, and I was just trying to draw it from memory, so it doesn't look like it. But it was close. I know I did these at work because I was having a hard time doing anything, and these were referenced. None of this was referenced. I was trying to draw, I guess, ponies. Just trying to figure out, well, how would I draw that one Pokemon? It wasn't going well. So I drew this, and I like how this one came out. Again, if I stare at it too long, I see all these like mistakes and stuff, but overall, I do like it. This was referenced, and I like this one. And then I took a blending step to it, and I kind of made it look dirty, but it's okay. And just a brain fart page where it's like you need to draw and you need to get all this bad stuff out. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we both like Inuyasha. I was like, Kagome, Inuyasha. Designs I did for my dad. Again, this is not a final design, it's just me drawing and putting things on the page, because the more I put it on the page, the more I can just like erase and figure out how to twist things and make it look better. Some of these over here were referenced, some were out of my head. This is the only reference one that I like. I thought I did pretty well on that. The rest of them, not so much. And then I liked this one that I just did out of my head. I think I was looking at pictures of Breath of the Wild, like other artists' stuff. So this isn't people's art. This is me looking at art and then trying to like take elements that I like. and figure out how to compose a picture. I wasn't doing so well. And then none of this was referenced. I like this one right here. It's messy and it's dirty because of the graphite I was using, but I still like it. Brain fart page. I think the only one I like is this one. And I didn't even finish it. It was just a little doodle. I'm trying to get better at drawing faces. I don't want them to look as cartoony as before. I want them to like scoot on over to realism a little more. Not realistic, but close. I tried drawing one of my best friends and it wasn't working out. And so I drew her and my other friend in a sort of meme. She really likes foxes, and I saw this, they're called fugglers, and you know, it was a fox fuggler, and I'm like, of course, and it just made me think of this. So it inspired me to draw more. I know this one was reference. This one was, I think that's about it. Another drawing with waffles video. She was doing her gingerbread princesses, and I just thought it was so cute that I had to design my own. But then I was like, well, what if she was like an older girl? What would it look like? And this was like my idea for it. Trying to draw different body types is kind of hard for me. I draw people really curvy, and I don't mean to do it. It's just because anytime I want to make it like flow, they just turn out curvier. Like I like this one, and it's just because I didn't really try. I think, no, this wasn't a reference, but I just tried to like remember all the like other references I've ever used and like compile a face from that. And more doodles. Another time where I took the blending, I've never used a blending stub until now, and I was like, I can blend all of this, and so I went a little crazy, so there's a lot of drawings in here where I just took a blending stub to it. During this time, I think I wasn't doing too great with my art. Anytime I don't feel comfortable with art, I just kind of draw faces over and over again and just try and figure out how to do them, because I think that I can't draw anymore. And so I'm like, well, I used to be able to draw faces, and so I keep trying to figure it out. Thankfully, my husband came around and we were talking about D&D, and he was saying how he had this new character that he wanted to do. I forget. She has two names, but she goes by Lotus for one. And I don't remember the race they are, but they're like praying mantis people. So they have 4 arms, and I thought it was a cute idea to put like both of her arms in a jacket sleeve, a really big jacket. And so she has like her hands, both pairs of hands sticking out. So just coming up with designs for her. Then I was drawing random faces, but then my husband talked about like another character that would be your friend, a minotaur named Oaken. Like he's really sweet and she's really sassy, and I just thought that was such a cute idea. All right, so by this time I got, it was Christmas, and I got drawing heads and hands and figure studies and just overall drawing, I think, Andrew Loomis books. So once you move on over here, I was trying to just like use his technique to draw, and it was just so different from the way I had normally drawn that it was like a big learning curve. Thankfully, I think I've gotten better since doing that, and I think my other problem is, once again, not using references. So a lot of these aren't referenced. I just tried to use his method out of my head, and that's a no-go. So like these aren't referenced down here. This one is from his book, so it looks okay. This one wasn't referenced, but it turned out all right. And this one was referenced just from a normal picture, and I like that a lot more than just doing it out of my own head. I'm really like kicking myself for not doing more things from reference. And more doodles. I think now I was looking at his drawing the human figure. So none of these are great. I was just trying to figure out, because like I always wanted to do a bending over pose, like somebody's like reaching down. And I think he had one figure, just one figure in that book, and I was just trying to figure out how it worked. And then I think we're getting close to the end, so I was like, I really just want to finish this book, so I just went crazy with trying to draw things. And I think a lot of these, like I know these two right here weren't like referenced, like I looked at the reference and just like kept it up and drawed it and like tried to draw it. I would like see something on YouTube just for a second and then go, I need to draw that, and I would try and draw it from memory. So it's like, you know, if you would just sit down with a reference. And then I designed somebody else's D&D character. It's a friend of mine. She's a siren, but she can't sing, but she's a bard and plays the flute, and I just love that idea. So these were just some design ideas. We went with this one, and then we went with that as her weapon. Just some more doodles. 2020 Baby Yoda. New Year's baby. More doodles. I like this one. It looks really dark and really sketchy, but I do like it. And then another thing I started doing is I try and draw people. And if they can guess who it is, I get really happy. So like I tried drawing Tron, and somebody guessed it was Tron. I'm like, oh, thank God. You know, I'm not a failure as an artist. This was a comic book idea. You can't see it very well, and it is on my Instagram and Facebook. And then a few days later, I tried drawing some more. I tried drawing Lizzo from memory, and so it doesn't look like her at all. These were practice, and so I was really trying to like sit down and study with a reference. So it wasn't going so great. I wasn't having a great art day, but I do like this one. And, you know, they're not all going to turn out great, and that's fine. I do like this page, though. I just sat down and really tried to work. So this is the one I liked the most. It's just a brain fart page, and I think this was the only thing I referenced. It was another artist, and I liked how he made girls' faces like thinner, because again, I make mine kind of round. This was a draw this in your style. I should have put the name of the artist on here. I usually do when I do those, but for some reason I didn't this time. She just had such a dynamic pose. I was trying to figure that out. And I've also been trying to figure out like slight bowing poses. It's a work in progress. Okay, this is when I decided I want to start my new sketchbook. I just need to go ahead and finish everything. I said take your time because once again, it's that whole, why aren't my figures coming out great? It's because you're rushing. It's because you're not really focusing on how to do it. But I was like ready to just go. I was like, I want to finish this book so I can start my new one. So these aren't that important. And then I finished, and I'm not excited about how I did this, but I was like, it's done. It's done. I finished it. And that's it. Thankfully, I'm like 15 pages already into my next sketchbook, so hopefully that will be done in like a month and a half. And I'm really excited to show you guys that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.